Alright, so the Stitch Sampler Baby Blanket is made up of a bunch of different squares. We've already know that, right? Because we've looked at the blanket. But now it's time that we jump in and start looking at how we combine a little bit of color. So there are two squares in this blanket that combine color. One is the long wave stitch and one is Catherine's wheel. In this video, you're going to learn how to do the long wave stitch. And let's take a look down here and I'll show you how to do this. Down here, you're going to begin with a solid color. So it'll be your color A. And you'll work a combination of singles and doubles and half doubles and trebles to create different heights of the stitch, okay? And then you're going to work all the way back with just single crochets. We're going to change colors and we're going to do it all over again with the different height of the stitches, and then we're going to single crochet back. So this entire square is a manipulation of the height of the stitches to create this beautiful effect. This is so much fun. You can have a great time with different colors in this, whether you want it to be monochromatic or extremely vivid and bright and just, you know, popping off the blanket, kind of like this one. To me, I look at this and the green and the pink together, it's like, wow, that's so bright. So let's learn how to do that. I'm going to scoot the blanket out of the way. I've already done my chain 30, which is what we're going to work on in this video. You can see here, once you get the Crochet Stitch Sampler Blanket pattern, say that 3 times fast, you'll find the long wave stitch square. You have instructions that are written out and charted. In the final pattern, you will have instructions for the size block to make a larger blanket like mine, but for today, we're going to do the in-class block. So it says chain 30 using A. So I've went ahead and I've done my chain 30. I figured at this point in the block process, you pretty much know how to do chains. If you need a refresher, please check out the Beginner Basics chain stitch and slip stitch section in this channel. You can find all your information there. If we're looking at the chart, we can see, first off, we're going to read the chart in the first row going this way, and we know that because we have the number 1 hanging out here. So we know that wherever the number is, that's the part that we're going to start to read the chart. We have this chain 1, and they want us to single crochet in the 1, 2, 3rd chain from hook. So we already have the chain 1. That was part of our 30. So now we have to go we never count the one on the hook. 1, 2, 3rd chain from hook, and we're going to put a single crochet. Now, if you can tell here, the different heights of the stitches are already represented in this chart, and that's because my tech editor is really smart. And so she went ahead and made it so that the different heights of the stitches are represented, so you can kind of already see this wave pattern beginning. So we began with a single crochet, and we can see in the next 2 chains we have a half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, do a half double crochet, and then do a half double crochet in the next one. We look over here, we have 2 double crochets side by side. So we're going to create 2 double crochets. We come back over here to our chart. We can see we have 1, 2, 3 treble crochets. Those tall stitches with 2 hash marks on them, that represents a treble crochet. So for a treble crochet, there is a video available here on the channel, but for this square, what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over twice. You go into the stitch you need to have it go into. So for this example, it's the chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You're left with 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. We're going to do that 2 more times. So you make sure you yarn over your hook twice, go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to do that 1 more time. I'm going to yarn over my hook twice, go into the chain, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. All right, so if I set this down, you can see I've begun to build this ramp, so to speak. I've built the ramp up. And now it's time that we start taking down the ramp or heading down the slope. So we've got to create shorter stitches. So we just left the treble. We're going to go back to the double. So we're going to put 2 double crochets. There's 1. Going to complete a second one. Then we have 2 half doubles. Then we have 3 singles. Okay, so we have 3 singles. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to set this down. You can see now here we've started off with our singles, half doubles, doubles, trebles, gone up to the peak, and now we're coming back down to the end of the slope, right? We do that one more time to finish this row, and then we would begin the next row. Half double, and then 2 doubles, 1, and then 2. Now we go back to our treble, so it's yarn over twice, go into the chain stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Yarn over twice, go into the chain stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. We have one more. So yarn over twice, go into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. So we're at the top, we got to come back down. We're going to do 2 doubles. So we've yarned over, pulled up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 twice, yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, blah, blah, blah. You guys sick of me saying this? It's kind of funny. I know you're watching it and you're just like, all right, I'm focused, Marley. Stop talking. Stop talking. Can't have dead air though. I'm almost done here. So I've done the 2 half doubles. And I'm going to finish off with 2 singles because that's what it shows on my chart. Let me do my 2 singles and I'll show you on the chart where it shows that. So right here we have our 2 singles and we're completed. So I'm going to do a chain 1. We are not changing colors at this point. Chain 1 and turn. Now looking at my chart, I can see here my chain 1 is not hanging out outside here of the chart. It's actually in play, meaning when it gets to row 3, this treble crochet is getting worked into that chain 1. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to mark that chain 1. It's the stitch that's right below my hook at this point in time. So now I know where the last stitch of my next row is going to be. So knowing that, I'm going to skip this stitch for a single crochet because that chain 1 right there represents that stitch. I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to work a single crochet. I am going to do single crochets down this entire row. So, you know, that's just all you have to do. We're just finishing off the row with a nice series of single crochets because it just makes it look really nice and clean. It gives a nice clean edge to the curve of the wave, and then it's an easy stitch for us to be able to work into again as we build our next wave. What you're going to notice as we build the next wave is when we start to climb to the peak and then go down to the valleys, it's going to be in a different location on the stitch pattern, and that's what gives us the wave. So with this first one, we had 2 waves. On this next one, we're going to have a wave in the center and 2 partial waves, one on either side of the 2 waves that we just created. I think that'll make more sense here in just a second. So I'm going to come all the way down here to the very end. And when I get to the end, it's time to change colors. Now, if I didn't change colors, I would still get this wave look, but it would not be as pronounced as it is when you change colors. When you change colors, it just does something that it really just builds on the eye, right? And I know that I have to put one right down here at the very end. There we are. So down here, I'm going to change colors. Now, I can either cut the yarn and join with a slip stitch, or I can do this. This is so easy. Instead of yarning over and pulling through to finish the single crochet on that last one, I've gone in and I've pulled up a loop with the old color. I'm going to cut the yarn, leaving at least 4 inches. I prefer 6. I'm grabbing my new color of yarn. I'm coming up and I'm just holding it together in my right hand, and I'm going to yarn over with my new color and pull through. What this does is it leaves the old color down here in the post of the previous stitch, but now I have my new color on my hook, and so it's ready to go. I'm going to yarn over and pull through to create a chain. So I'm actually down here, I've got a chain 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can look at my chart here and I can see that I'm going to have a single crochet in the top of that 4th chain. So I'm going to put a marker into that chain that's right below the loop that's on my hook, because I know that that's my last stitch. I'm going to yarn over my hook twice, because if I look at the chart, I can see my next stitch is a treble crochet. I'm not going to work into that one, because remember, this one's going to count as a stitch. I'm going to work over here. If you worked in that first one, your stitch count would be off, and you'd be like, well, what happened, man? I'm not real sure. So it's as if we are starting in the middle of our peak. So we began with our 2 trebles, because our chain 4 counts as a treble, and this is a treble we completed. Now we've done 2 doubles, so we know without even looking at the chart, we have to do 2 half doubles in order to come down our slope, right? Oop, do you see that? Yarn over and go in and complete the half double. And then we have 3 singles. And then we know we have to begin to build again. So we got to do a half double, a half double, a double, a double, and then we have 3 trebles, right? Let me pull up my yarn a little bit. It's giving me a little bit of trouble. So I've got 2 yarn overs, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, a total of 3 times. I'm going to do that 3 times. So what's cool here is you'll see if we were to research and look at the very first row compared to what I'm doing right now, I'm putting these 3 trebles on top of those original 3 single crochets I had done. If I peek over here at the chart, these are the first 3 single crochets I've done. The second row I did single crochets all the way across, but you'll see here, treble, 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 that's what I just put on there. So it's as if I'm filling in the valley of this slope, and that gives me that wave here. That might be a little bit more confusing to some of you who are like, what? I'm a beginner, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. That is not a make or break amount of information, but it's just something there that as the graph or the chart becomes a little bit more clear to you, it's not a lot less matrixy, you'll see what I mean. You'll see that you're going up the slope or going up the mountain and then coming down the slopes and filling the valleys and all that good stuff. So I just did my 3 single crochets. I'm doing a half double and a half double, and then I'm going to do 2 doubles because I've got to build up my partial mountain over here. Remember I said we're going to have 1 mountain in the middle and then 2 partials. So there's my double, and then I have 2 trebles here. 1 right here, 1, and then my last one. It's very easy. I just do it in my marked stitch right there. Okay, chain 1, turn. I know that my chain 1 is my last stitch of the row, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. I'm just moving up my marker from the row below. And then I'm not going to put my single there. I'm going to put my single right here. And I'm just doing single crochets all the way back, just like I did before. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there real quick. I'm going to turn this back around because I want you to see. Can you see what I mean about, so this was, we started, we went up the mountain, we keep going, we came down the slope. We went up the mountain, we came down the slope. And then on this side, we single crocheted all the way back. And then we started at the top of the mountain, we came down the slope, and then we came up the mountain again. It's going to look straight though, because when we came up the mountain, we were filling in the valley. So when we fill in the valley with the peaks of our mountains, that gives us a straight line. Does that make sense? Can you see that? So it's really important that as you put the stitches in the right places, you'll recognize that you get this wave stitch. Pretty cool. I love this. I love the look of the different colors that you can do in this particular stitch pattern. As I said, when you look at the pattern itself, it has all the instructions written out, and it will tell you to repeat rows 2 through 5, and you're going to want to end on a row 4. And what that will do, it'll leave you with a nice, clean, straight edge, so that way as you're joining the blocks together, you have something very straight to join into, and so you don't get a little ripply effect to your blanket. Now you know how to do the long wave stitch.